dokie, folks. All right, on this theme of soft cost, there's there's a little thing I wanted to do before this, but it doesn't really fit in before this in the big picture. But I need to allude to something that I'm going to do later, which is just things that are. You have assets that are not on your balance sheet, and I understand perfectly well that a lot of people don't understand what a balance sheet is. But suffice to say, it's stuff you've got. They're the assets in your business. At least on the asset half of it is. That's what we're talking about. You have assets that don't show up there, and they can't. But if you begin to think of yourself, like me, Dale Howard, right? So I'm the Dale Howard Company. Now I might do this business or that business or whatever it is, but running my life is kind of running the Dale Howard Company, right? Well, you've got the same thing. Whatever it is you do, you've got the U Company. So with that in mind, the U Company has got its assets, it's got its overhead, just like everything else, right? So I want to talk about overhead, right? And this is invisible overhead that I want to talk about today. Now, visible overhead, if you're not familiar with the term, there's two types of it. There's fixed overhead and variable overhead. Don't be put off by this. They're pretty simple concepts. Fixed overhead would be things like the rent. I'm keeping things simple here. Things like car payments, they are not overhead really and truly, okay? But they're fixed cash flow items, so we'll do with that. But there are things that you can count on that are going to cost us just regular rent. Whether you go out the door to work or not, those things are going to stay there. Those are fixed, right? And these go right on down to, not just your payments on vans or what have you, which are really not overhead, but they go to non-producing personnel. All right, so your office people, they're overhead. Now, you have variable overhead too. And I know that labor costs are generally kept separate from overhead, but I include them in overhead. If it's not producing, it's overhead. What you want to do with your labor costs, you can kind of account for them separately, but they're a variable expense. Presumably, if you're not working, you're not paying somebody to do the work, whatever your situation actually is. Okay, so those are two guys. And that's the visible stuff. Anybody can figure that out, and that's what people talk about most of the time. But then there's the invisible overhead. And now we're not talking about so much precisely your business as we are about the U Company. All right. You have certain assets that you're spending down at any time, and hopefully you're replacing those assets with income, right? So you make payroll this month, but, went out to work and you want money in. All right, well, think about the invisible side. You have a certain amount of time, energy, physical energy, emotional energy, and you've got your business acumen too. We go, biz smarts. How smart are you in business? Or how smart you are. That's how smart you are. Okay, you're smarter now than you used to be. You're not as smart now as you're going to be later. So there's only so much of you to go around. The package of that, how much time you can stay awake and devote to your project, how much energy you've got to do that productively, and how much emotional energy you can pour into it without needing to throw up your hands and walk away from it. Those things are being sapped all the time. They really are. And let's give you an example. Say you hire a guy, a good guy, perfectly good guy. Now, everybody knows it takes time to get a man up to speed, right? So what happens while a person is coming up to speed? Or, I say man up to speed, anybody. But, this goes for your production employees and your inside employees. If you have somebody sitting in front of a telephone and they aren't doing it right yet, you have two choices: fire them or stick with them until they can get it right. Or worse yet, stick with them after they never get it right. That'll cost you. But there's only so much of you to go around. And when these people are in the early stages, they sap the energy out of you. They make mistakes. It's not their fault. I understand that. And you're going to keep them. You're not going to fire them because you're investing in them. But it costs you to invest in them. And they make mistakes. And the customer gets mad. Who has to go fix that? Well, probably you. At the very least, you have to sit on the phone and calm the customer down. You have to deal with the stuff. Hope you don't have to deal with a lawyer, that kind of thing, right? So this takes your time, your fix-it time. It saps you of your emotional energy, which funnels through to your physical energy, right? So you have to beware of hidden overhead. And this inexperience and other time-wasting, energy-wasting stuff, you need to put it out of your life. And I'm going to follow this up with something kind of specific. The next one is going to be on how to sidestep some of that, and or one way to sidestep some of it. But as a general principle, just look at your business and your life and see what's drawing down, your time and energy, and start to move that out so that you can be happier and make more money. I mean, this is about money, right? But at the end of the day, you want to be happy. So you do that. In fact, take a little time out. I know nobody ever listens to me when I say take some time out and do something, but take 30 seconds. Just sit quietly and think about this for 30 seconds. Take 10 minutes if you like, right? But think on it. How can you remove things from your life that are sucking up your time and your physical and emotional energy? All right? I'll be back with something specific in a minute. Bye. Hey friends, I hope this was useful to you. Would you do something for me? Would you please share this with anybody you know that ought to hear it too? And then would you please give me the thumbs up and subscribe, right? That's kind of important on these things. Feel free to leave comments. All right, thanks a lot. And now get out there and do some winning.